Have you ever noticed something strange about miracles? In the Bible, seas split open, the blind suddenly see, fire falls from heaven, dead people rise. But today, most people pray, and nothing dramatic happens. No burning bushes, no voices from the sky, no mountains moving. And that raises an uncomfortable question. If God still exists, why do miracles seem so rare? Because for many people, this isn't just a theological debate, it's personal. A mother prays for healing and still loses her child. A believer begs God for help and hears silence. Someone spends years asking for a sign and never gets one. So what happened? Did miracles stop? Were they exaggerated? Or are we simply looking for them in the wrong places? Welcome to Sacred Questions. Today, we're exploring one of the most difficult and emotionally charged questions in Christianity. Why do miracles seem rare? And the answer may be more complicated than most people think. First, we need to define what we even mean by a miracle. Most people think of miracles as supernatural events that completely override the laws of nature. Instant healing, walking on water, food multiplying out of nowhere. And biblically, miracles absolutely include those things. Jesus healing the blind, Moses parting the Red Sea, Elijah calling down fire from heaven. But here's something many people miss. The Bible actually contains long periods where miracles were surprisingly uncommon. When we read Scripture, miracles feel constant because the stories are compressed into a single narrative. But in reality, centuries often passed without dramatic supernatural events. Think about it. The miracles surrounding Moses were extraordinary, but they happened during a specific period in Israel's history. Then came long stretches of ordinary life. The same is true for Elijah and Elisha, and later for Jesus and the apostles. In other words, biblical miracles were often concentrated around key moments of revelation. They weren't necessarily happening everywhere all the time. That changes the question a little. Maybe miracles don't seem rare because God disappeared. Maybe miracles were always rare. But that still leaves another difficult issue. Why would God make miracles rare at all? Wouldn't obvious miracles make belief easier? You would think so. But interestingly, the Bible itself challenges that assumption. In the Gospel accounts, people witnessed miracles directly and still doubted. Some saw Jesus heal the sick and accused him of demonic power. Others watched astonishing signs and still walked away. According to Scripture, miracles alone don't automatically create lasting faith. And honestly, human history seems to support that. People are incredibly good at explaining away experiences they don't want to believe. If someone saw a miracle today, many would call it coincidence, hallucination, manipulation, or misunderstood science. Others would demand even bigger signs. That leads to a fascinating philosophical idea. Maybe miracles are intentionally rare because constant miracles would fundamentally change human freedom. Imagine a world where God visibly intervened every single day. Every prayer instantly answered. Every evil person immediately judged. Every doubt erased by undeniable supernatural proof. Would faith still be faith, or would belief become unavoidable? Some theologians argue that God values freely chosen trust more than forced certainty. Not because evidence is bad, but because relationships built entirely on overwhelming power can become transactional rather than genuine. And yet, this explanation doesn't fully satisfy many people. Because the emotional question remains, why doesn't God intervene more often when people are suffering? That's where this discussion becomes deeply personal. The rarity of miracles can feel painful, even cruel, and Christianity has wrestled with this for centuries. Some Christians believe miracles still happen regularly today. They point to testimonies of healing, near-death experiences, impossible recoveries, and dramatic transformations. In many parts of the world, especially in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, reports of miraculous experiences are actually very common. Others are more cautious. They believe God can perform miracles, but that many modern claims are exaggerated, emotionally driven, or impossible to verify. Then there are Christians who believe the greatest miracles were primarily tied to the early church and are no longer common in the same way today. And outside Christianity, skeptics often argue that miracles seem to decrease as scientific understanding increases. In other words, things once called miracles now have natural explanations. That argument has weight. History is full of events people once considered supernatural that science later explained. But here's the interesting problem. Science can explain mechanisms within nature. It struggles to answer whether something beyond nature could exist at all. Science is incredibly powerful at describing how the universe works. But questions about meaning, purpose, consciousness, morality, and divine action move into philosophical territory. And that's why the miracle debate never fully disappears. Because it's not only about evidence, it's also about worldview. A person who already believes the universe is closed to the supernatural will interpret events differently from someone who believes God can act within creation. The same event can look miraculous to one person and purely natural to another. But maybe the deepest issue is this: what kind of miracle are we expecting? Many people expect miracles to look spectacular, but the Bible often portrays God working quietly too, through persistence, through changed hearts, through unexpected timing, through ordinary people. Through persistence, through changed hearts, through unexpected timing, through ordinary people. Those transformations may not look like the parting of the Red Sea, but for the people experiencing them, they can feel just as impossible. Of course, that raises another objection. Are we redefining miracles simply because dramatic ones seem absent? That's a fair criticism, and intellectual honesty matters here. Some prayers truly appear unanswered. Some tragedies remain unresolved. Some faithful people never experience the miracle they desperately hoped for. Some prayers truly appear unanswered. Some tragedies remain unresolved. Some faithful people never experience the miracle they desperately hoped for. Why, Lord? How long? Where are you? Even Jesus on the cross cried out words of anguish. That's important. The biblical story does not pretend doubt and pain are imaginary. It acknowledges them openly. And maybe that honesty is part of why this question continues to resonate so deeply, because nearly everyone has experienced a moment where heaven felt silent. So where does that leave us? Maybe miracles seem rare because we expect constant spectacle. Maybe they were always uncommon. Maybe God values freedom and trust more than overwhelming proof. Maybe some miracles happen quietly rather than dramatically. Or maybe the silence itself forces humanity to wrestle with deeper questions about faith, suffering, and meaning. But here's one final thought. If miracles happened every hour, every day, nonstop, would we even call them miracles anymore? Or would they simply become normal? Perhaps part of what makes a miracle powerful is precisely its rarity, its interruption of the ordinary, its ability to shock us awake. And maybe the deeper question is not simply, why are miracles rare? But, what would it actually take for us to recognize one? Thanks for watching Sacred Questions. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think miracles still happen today? Have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain? Or do you believe miracles belong only to the ancient world? Share your thoughts in the comments. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think miracles still happen today? Have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain? Or do you believe miracles belong only to the ancient world? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring difficult questions about faith, doubt, God, and the Bible with honesty and depth, subscribe to Sacred Questions and join us for the next conversation.